Good morning. I have given myself a reading challenge for this week. So today is Wednesday, July 29th. Saturday, August 1st is when I go to see the Odyssey. So the challenge I've given myself is to try and read, maybe finish, as much of the Odyssey as I can before I go see the movie. Now, I have read the Odyssey before, so this is kind of just a refresh. I just thought it would be fun to reread it. I've been wanting to reread it for quite some time now, ever since listening to Epic the Musical, so I thought, what better time than before I go see the movie? And also, I wanted everything fresh for the movie, so I could kind of give the movie as good of an analysis as I possibly could. I am currently 160 pages into the Odyssey. I've been reading it for a couple days now, and I have 485 pages in the book. So I've read this much, and I have this much left to read. So we'll see if we can do it. I am dual reading it with the audiobook. So basically I'll have the audiobook on in the background while I physically read this. And I think that's really helped me kind of fully understand everything that's going on. And I am reading the Robert Fagles translation, not the Emily Wilson translation. I know there's been a lot of debate back and forth about like which translation is best. This one I did already have on my shelf before the Emily Wilson translation came out, so like I didn't want to go out and buy a whole new copy. Also, this is the translation of the Aeneid that we read, and I felt like I understood it pretty well. And I think I saw someone say that the Emily Wilson translation is prose versus this one. It's not quite poetry, but I mean, it takes on a more poetry-like reading. I'd have to read his note on the translation. I haven't done a lot of research into this, so this is just like what I know off the top of my head. So I have a little over 300 pages left to read, which in a typical book I could read in a day. But obviously this is a classic, and it's got a little bit more complex language. Although I will say, maybe it's just my brain being more developed than it was in high school, but I'm understanding this quite a lot more than I thought I would. I also read the graphic novel for a class about a year ago. Oh my gosh. Has it really been that long? Okay, anyways, so I'm pretty fresh on the story, and I also have listened to Epic the Musical several, and by several I mean probably like 10 times at this point. So I'm familiar with the story of Odysseus. There's just some stuff you can't get unless you go to the source material, so I just wanted to reread it. For starters, I didn't even remember the fact that we don't even start following Odysseus. Like, I just now got to Odysseus in book 5, but so far we've been following Telemachus, which is his son. So, like, I just didn't remember that. I was like, oh, we're following Telemachus. The things I am annotating are quotes, of course, instances where characters are very cunning, which we see a lot of that with Odysseus himself, but there was a passage with Penelope where she's trying to not marry any of the suitors who are just like desecrating the hall and like eating all of their food. So she says that like when she's finished with this tapestry, she will marry, but she's been secretly unweaving it every night. So she like prolongs the work. So I think just instances where characters use their cunning skills is very interesting. The next thing is wit versus pride, specifically when it comes to Odysseus, but just any instances really of wit and pride. Then we have divine justice / the gods and their actions. And then I have anything that I love. I have instances of violence and revenge, any mention of fate, man subject to divine will, which I think is a theme common throughout all of like Greek mythology, is can one escape his fate, or is he kind of locked into what the fates decree? And then the last thing I wanted to track was just Odysseus and his character and mentions of him. You know, one spot mentions how he's a flexible, wily king. Another talks about his genius with the Trojan horse. And so just like little instances like that where I can go back and refer to them. And this is a tabbing progress update. But yeah, that's my update for right now. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm kind of craving to read it, which is something that doesn't typically happen with me in classic literature. So I think that's a really good sign. Hopefully I can get through book 7 today, I think would be the goal. There are 24 books, so I would love if I could get to like book 20 before I see the movie, but you know, however much I'm able to read is fine by me. Welcome back. I am currently on book 9 of the Odyssey, which is where Odysseus is going to start to tell his story of how he got to, oh gosh, is he in Phoenicia? He's in Phaeacia. I'm just gonna call it Phaeacia. I'm sure that's probably wrong somehow. He got to the island and he enlisted the help of the king's daughter, and then so the king welcomed him, and then I think it was his sons or someone asked him to like compete in these games that they had. Odysseus ended up competing. Like they were kind of taunting him to compete in the games. And then finally they're all at this feast, and then they're like, okay, well, like tell us who you are. What's your story? Where did you come from? So we're going to start off with the Cyclops story. So yeah, Odysseus is finally off of Calypso's island, which great for him. So I'm going to get to reading. I would love to get through book 11. I feel like I could do that. And I think I forgot a lot of this book too, because like with Epic the Musical, it's kind of told from like a chronological standpoint and not as like Odysseus retelling what he's gone through. So like that's just been in the forefront of my brain, but it's good to know that the story doesn't start with Odysseus, nor that we're following things chronologically, because I think if I went into the movie thinking that, I would have been extra disappointed. So it's good that I figured that out. I'm gonna rage quit because I just filmed a whole update and I realized I forgot to turn the receiver for my microphone on, so I'm in a fantastic mood. So anyways, reading update that I literally just said, but it's okay, because you're never going to see that footage. I made it to book 13 of the Odyssey. So Odysseus has finally finished telling his tale of how he ended up in Phaeacia. So we, went through the Cyclops, then we went to Circe's island, then we went to the underworld, and then we went to, I think we went past Scylla and Charybdis. We ended up on like Apollo's island with his cows, which stupid Eurylochus decided to kill. I'm like, bro, you stupid man. But okay. You just bring the anger of the gods upon you, because y'all definitely needed that right now. I think if I can get to book 20 tomorrow and then just save the last 4 books for Saturday, that will give me obviously enough time. And the next book is called Ithaca at Last, so hopefully we're gonna be on the way home, because Odysseus has been gone for 20 years, so it's about time bro gets home. And it's been also really interesting to see, you know, Odysseus is obviously very clever of a character, but his Achilles heel, so to speak, is his pride that is often his downfall, because we saw with the Cyclops especially that, you know, when he tells Polyphemus that his name is Nobody, and so then when they stab him in the eye and Polyphemus is screaming and the other Cyclops, Cyclopsi? I don't know what the plural of Cyclops is. We're just gonna say Cyclops. When the other Cyclops are like, who's hurting you? And Polyphemus is like, oh, nobody's hurting me. And they're like, okay, well, that's stupid. Then shut up. Like, stop screaming. That's very clever. But then Odysseus's pride gets in the way because, you know, as they're sailing away, he could have got away. But instead, he had to turn back and start taunting Polyphemus. So then not only did Polyphemus start throwing boulders at them and their ship, which could have ended badly, like they could have ended up stranded on Cyclops Central, not the place you want to be. But then he also, you know, shouts back, my name's Odysseus from Ithaca. Bro, like, how stupid can you be? There's a prophecy told to Polyphemus about a man named Odysseus, so that came to pass, but you didn't have to do all that, because now you made your life infinitely harder, and you made your journey home so much harder, because now you're gonna have Poseidon after you. Anyways, this man's been through it. Honestly, I have immensely enjoyed my time with this book, so we'll see how the movie is, but if all else fails, at least the hype surrounding the Odyssey has made me pick up a classic, especially one that's like 3,000 years old, and like actually enjoy my time with it. Obviously, I'm not reading it in the original Greek because I'm not that skilled. I do like this translation because it feels older, but the language is still fairly modern, so it's pretty understandable. I'm very much into the Greek mythology right now because I saw Hades Town, and then now I'm seeing the Odyssey, and so I'm just like in my Greek mythology era. And then I also ordered Mythology by Edith Hamilton because that's like a good resource for a lot of mythology. Obviously, that's the title. So I also want to read that. So yeah, I'm just in my Greek mythology era, and it's a great place to be. And, you know, seeing also all the Greek sculptures in the Louvre puts me in the Greek mythology mood. So that's my update for right now, and I will check back in with you tomorrow. Hello, welcome back. I am currently on book 18, which is page 375 of the Odyssey. So I have about 100 pages left to go. So it's currently 10 a.m. and I'm going to watch the movie at 5 p.m. So I think that is quite enough time to go finish the book. Odysseus made it home, so that's good, but nobody except Telemachus knows that he's home. So now he's going to purge the hall of all the suitors who were just like eating him out of house and home. So we're gonna get to witness all of that. Penelope hasn't set her challenge yet, so I'm not sure quite when that will be. Guess who officially finished the Odyssey? Finally, 24 books and almost 500 pages later, I'm finally done. I literally leave in like an hour to go watch the movie. Like, literally perfect timing. Could not have been better timing. This is the tabbing progress. Wow. There were some pages I almost highlighted, like the entire page, especially when Odysseus and Penelope were reunited. Love it. Oh my gosh. It makes me want to re-listen to Epic the Musical again. I'll try and give my thoughts on the movie when I get back, but I might need some time to like process everything. I think I'm gonna give this a 4.75. I do wish it was told from like a chronological perspective. I think that would have been more interesting. So that's really like the only thing that I could say would improve the book, but obviously it's like 3,000 years old, so it's not gonna be improved, and this is just what we get. And I think having listened to like Epic the Musical and everything is making me appreciate the Odyssey more. And it's just like, you know, when him and Penelope reunite, I'm like hearing the songs in my head. Okay, it is the next day and I do have some thoughts on the movie. Not my favorite movie, I must say. Here's kind of what I've consolidated my thoughts to be. I think it was a great piece of cinematography and the soundtrack was amazing and very well done, but I don't think that as an adaptation of the Odyssey, it was very good. I just felt like it kind of missed the important points, especially of kind of gods controlling men's lives, and then also Odysseus's pride being his downfall, because his pride is kind of what gets him into this whole 10-year journey of him, you know, not being able to get home right away. And we kind of completely glossed over that fact, and it was just very, honestly, just dismissed. Like, it wasn't put in as I thought it should have been, because in the book we see that, you know, Odysseus telling Polyphemus his name after the whole nobody incident. And then Polyphemus, you know, goes and tells Poseidon that Odysseus is the one who hurt him. Then Poseidon gets angry, and like all of this I feel like was just kind of glossed over, and instead we focused more on Odysseus's grief and maybe trauma is not the right word, but maybe I guess regret for the things that happened in Troy. And I just don't know. I mean, it's an interesting aspect to focus on, but having read the book, and again, it could be a translation thing, I don't know. I have not studied ancient Greek. I just don't know if it was the best adaptation. Christopher Nolan is obviously an amazing director. So yeah, I mean, I think it's worth watching at least once. Would I rewatch it? Probably not. Also, I'm sorry, but Agamemnon had no aura. I know everyone is saying, oh my gosh, or a Memnon this, or a Memnon that. No, he just looked like the buff Squidward. Like that's what I got from it. I think I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. So yeah, there were some aspects of the film that were very well done. I really liked oh gosh, how did they say it? Antinous. His Robert Pattinson's character, phenomenal acting. Loved that. I think I just wasn't really sold as Matt Damon on Odysseus. Like, he just didn't feel like an Odysseus to me. He just felt like Matt Damon in a movie. And I think that was kind of some of the issues I had with the other actors too. I just couldn't not see the actor in the movie. So those are just a few of my thoughts on the movie. I'm still kind of iffy about some of the choices made. I could honestly go either way, but yeah. And I'm sure maybe some movie commentator will change my opinion on the movie with some like really deep analysis, and I'm like, ooh, yeah. But for right now, having read the book, I was just like, I was underwhelmed. Let me know if y'all prefer this kind of style of reading vlog where I just read like one book and make a video on it, or if you'd rather see me read like multiple books in a week and have a video on that. And I'm sure I'll do a mix of both, but if you have a preference, let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you are cultivating your curiosity and exploring the world around you. And with all that said, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!